There's never a mistake made. God made you beautifully, intentionally, like it was so specific. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Limitless Conversations podcast. Oh, welcome back. Oh, welcome back. Yeah, I am your host, Authentically Sean. Hey y'all. And here on this podcast, we talk about expanding and being our best limitless selves. We understand where we are believing ourselves to be limited, and we are busting through those limitations. I'm going to just tell you guys, I'm recording a little bit earlier than normal. So if you're watching the visuals, you may see the background get darker or lighter. I try to record late at night, but so that it just consistently stays dark. But that ain't the case today. Okay. So, yes, I actually just finished recording for another podcast today. And because today's my filming day, and I actually just ended up recording for another podcast, and I was already dressed up, and I'm like, you know what? We're gonna record today's episode. And so I sat down to meditate and write notes, talk to God, and then God put me to sleep. But and that's been something God's been doing lately. I just have these need for naps all the time. I don't know but you know what? It's just about allowing your body to be where it is and to do what it needs to do. I don't know why I need so many naps. Maybe my body is regenerating. Maybe it is in need of that at this moment. You know what I mean? So I just honor where I am, and I don't necessarily always need to investigate it. I just trust that it's for a purpose and for a reason. Everything is intentional. So, what we're going to talk about today is allowing your light to shine. Allowing your light to shine. This is where I am in my life currently, in a space, allowing myself to just see how special and how unique and how beautifully created I am. And it's funny because a few weeks ago, I haven't done it, but a few weeks ago, God was talking to me about revisiting um, my childhood homes and really like that there'll be something special there for me. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for sure. But just telling me that there's something special for me. And even in that, even if I don't physically go, God's just today was having me to drop back into vividly visualizing myself. And you can even practice this in this moment. Like visually see yourself in your childhood home or just a significant home that you had, and almost like just watching that young girl navigate the space, that young guy navigate the space. What were they like? How did they move? What was their energy? Did they want to be seen? Did they not want to be seen? Were they outspoken? Were they quiet? Were they playful? What was the environment that they were in like? And so I'm gonna do it. I think we think you should do it too, right? If you feel something when I say that, but I did drop back into like my high school home because I've been joking lately, but not joking because really truly I do feel like this. Like I've had two childhoods. So there was my first childhood, which was like maybe up until mm, early high school, like yeah, maybe like maybe freshman-ish year of high school ish. I'm not the best with times, but somewhere in that realm, probably freshman sophomore year of high school. And then there was my childhood post. So the reason I say that is because so much about my environment changed in those periods. And so in the first half of my childhood, um, my mom was like on the at her peak, like killing it. She was in the mortgage industry. She was doing so amazing. We had this beautiful, amazing house. Like I grew up very much taken care of. Like I never wanted to discount the hard work that my mom worked really hard. She grinded. And I think about it, an inspiration to the way that she bossed up and like you know how women make so much money now. Like my mom really was that girl. Like she really did it on her own. Like yeah, shout out to you, mom. Really did it on her own, and provided such a good life for us financially by herself. Beautiful. And that's amazing. And then also, there came a point where my mom went on her spiritual journey and the market crashed and my mom got sick. And then at that time, I began to, and then my granddad passed away within a few years after that. And so I experienced a different environment after that. And so this is not where I was going with the conversation, but yeah. So when I think about visiting like my childhood homes, yeah, my mom was really killing it. I'm so proud of her, man. I give honor to my mom. I mean, yeah, like the way that she carried and carries is beautiful. I feel like that's important to say at this moment. Um, Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely empowering. Because when you grow up, you begin to understand when you become an adult, you understand the decisions that your parents made. You understand that they were really doing the best that they could, and you have a greater understanding. When you're a kid, you feel like everything is about you. I think I talked about another episode. I heard this interview. He's like, kids are narcissistic. I mean, truly, as a kid, when mommy and daddy aren't around, you think it's an issue of yours. You think that you were the problem. You think that you did something bad to make daddy not be there, or you did something bad where mommy's not there all the time. You really take a lot of it on as it being you, but in reality, it was never about you. Mommy and daddy were going through their own journeys and they were navigating the best that they could. Like my mom, I've talked about here in the podcast wanting my mom to be around more when I was in that first half of my childhood, because in my second half, me and my mom did develop a closer relation. When she was going through her harder times, most of when she was going through her spiritual times, we developed a closer relationship. And that's why even my spirituality started to develop, right? My lens and perspective around spirituality started to develop. And but when I look back at the time where I felt neglected, I also now sit in amazement of her, because my mom was late early 30s, like really being a boss and an inspiration. Like I never wanted for anything. I never like every time a dress down, because I went to a uniform school. Every time my dress down day came up, I had the newest shoes, right? I had a new outfit. I had the good, what you call it? You remember how it was like there was just like I always had like, the nice stuff. I had a nice home. I had y'all my bedrooms as a kid. I wish I had more pictures. Like too bad pictures weren't a thing. I had beautiful bedrooms, fully decorated, decked out. Like, I mean, so nice. So I admire her. I admire that version of my mom, you know, that that was carrying so much to be one woman, raising children, providing this amazing life for us financially. And I really honor and appreciate that. And and then later, when maybe she didn't have the money like she used to, I got to know my mom more. I got to know her more spiritually. And I got to watch her journey through her spirituality. And through watching her journey, I've learned so much. I learned a lot. I watched her go through the different cultures. I watched her meet all of her different friends that were part of all these different religions and these different practices. And I remember hearing them in the kitchen talk about things. And I remember, being in the living room with my mom. My mom would go into like, she would speak in tongues, and she would be channeling. And I remember like, get the notebook. I don't know why this go. Get the notebook. And I don't know, I feel this beautiful light coming in right now, but yeah, she would be like, get the notebook. Right. It was like a thing in the house. And like I remember like, we had the African drums. It would be African music. man, and she would just sit and she would, because she was talking in tongues and she couldn't translate it into English as she was talking in tongues at that time. So she would write in these notebooks, and then she would hand me the notebook and I would read out what the spirit was telling her at that time. And wow, super cool. Super cool. And like that was a version of my childhood as well. And then my mom got sick, and in her getting sick, um she began to experience, well, I won't say what she began to experience, but I began to experience my mom a little bit more upset, a little bit more hostile or angry. Not really at me as much. Like, me and my mom always pretty much maintained a good relationship, but it was still a home environment that I grew up in. And that's kind of when I started to be more of the mediator in the house. And that's when my role started to really become defined, I guess. And and that was that. But I'm really grateful for this moment, because the thing about healing, and the mind is so beautiful in the way that it remembers things, in the way that it isolates things from you, in the way that it um it's so intricate, so crazy. Like, even these memories that I'm talking about right now, like that moment, I remember mostly I want to sit with the spirituality walk of watching my mom develop her spirituality and her spiritual gifts. Um, because what I've noticed is that depending on where you're deciding to be mentally, whatever space you're navigating through, your mind finds it's like your mind finds all the files related to that space, and it plays those files, and because it's playing those files, it's almost like the other files get tucked away into a room and you almost don't remember them as much. And the reason that I say that is because me and my mom were talking recently, and or actually no, it was uh, a clip from a podcast episode, and I talked about not feeling celebrated, because in that space I was acknowledging it really wasn't that I wasn't celebrated. It was more that I wasn't pushed. Like, I didn't have that back, and it's not that it wasn't an intentional thing. Like, it wasn't like, we're not going to push you, Sean. It was just that that wasn't the environment I grew up in. Like, some people grow, like I said, in athletic households was the easiest way I can think about it. Athletic homes where they push, where you push your children to be great and to do great things, and that just wasn't what I grew up in. My mom was just a very chill parent, so I just didn't have that. But I remember when I posted that, my mom commented and she was just like, I'm sorry that you didn't feel celebrated, and she was just kind of talking about things that I did that were worth celebrating, that, she did celebrate when I was a kid, like me starting my YouTube channel and like learning all about YouTube and editing videos, and like me doing all these different things. And it was just wow, because once she said it, I remembered it. I was like, you know what? I do remember her always like being really proud of the things that I did, and them sitting around watching my YouTube. Even my mom, like, she'll be like, I just start watching your videos and I just get sucked into the land of you. And so I did. And so it was funny because I've always talked about how my mom wasn't nurturing. I'm like, she was, my mom was a single mom. She was the boss. She did her thing, and she wasn't the most nurturing mom ever. And I've always said that. But after we were sitting and talking about that comment that she left, and it's like this memory came back to me. And in that moment, I remembered, I'm like, you know what, Mom? I remember this moment when I was a kid. I don't know how old I was. I think at this time I was probably in middle school. I think I might have been in middle school. And when I was in middle school, I used to get these really bad headaches. Like, I mean, not even headaches, migraines. I used to get these really bad migraines. I would be crying. I'd be up all night, tossing and turning. It was just so bad. I even went to the doctor because they were just so bad. I just would cry, and it was just terrible. And I remember, I was like, Mom, I remember when I used to get those migraines. You used to sit in the bed, and you would rub my head, and you would just sit and rub my head and rock me until I fell asleep. And she was like, "Yeah, I remember that." She's like, "See, it wasn't all bad." And I'm like, "No." She's like, "I remember I even went to get you," because my mom was really into holistic too, and that's how I started getting into holistic stuff. She's like, "I remember I even got you this like silver water, this water with silver, and that they were saying was going to help with the migraines and stuff." And I'm like, "I remember that." And so in that moment, it was just a beautiful, like it was just a crazy reminder to me of how the mind works, like how when you allow yourself to think of something differently, like when you allow a change to come into your life, when you allow a shift, when you allow a shift in your mind to come about, it's beautiful because you're so supported. My favorite thing about living, being, existing is the fact that we are so unequivocal. Is those unequivocally, undeniably supported. You are undeniably supported in whatever you decide. And that's why people say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Whatever narrative, like, I always joke, I'm like, none of this is real, y'all. None of this is real. I could change when I'm in my healing, when I was in my healing, my heavy healing, right? I could see all the negative things of my relationship with my mom, not my relationship with my mom, but my relationship with my family, and how I grew up. I could see all the negative things. And then coming out of that space into a different space, I can remember all the positive things as well. It's just whatever I'm choosing to focus on. That's why this thing about perspective shifting and having this podcast and sharing different perspectives is so near to my heart, because I have fully seen that when you change your mind about something, your reality changes, your memories alter, your perspective changes, your life changes. This isn't just hearsay. This isn't people just saying this for the shits and giggles of it. Like, this is real. This is real. And I've watched myself transform through shifting my perspective. So even this sweet moment of this, just thinking about growing up and thinking about just the beauty of my upbringing. I've done all the unpacking of the sadness and all that kind of stuff. But after you unpack that sadness, after you unpack those things, and you acknowledge that it was never really meant to hurt you, you can see all of the beauty of the experiences that you have. You can see all of the beauty of how those experiences were tailored to make you who you are today. So, getting into the conversation about allowing your light to shine, this made, for me, the question came up: when was your light dimmed and why? And God specifically told me not to write my answer out, but to just instead sit with the question here live. And the question that I'm even going to ask, and I'm going to ask you guys the same question: when was your light dimmed and why? For me, my light was dimmed as a child in different ways, but we've already kind of talked so much about just my journey right now, or just how I view things now. But to me, as a child, I had as a kid, you require a lot of attention. And you're a kid. You have these. Well, I don't know. I know I did, and I know a lot of kids that I've been around do have these just like huge, massive personalities, and they just have so much energy and so much love. And it's like when you're an adult or when you're another kid, sometimes you can't match that kid's energy. So I remember just being a kid and feeling like I had so much love to give and nowhere to put it. And the places that I tried to put it, it didn't feel received. It didn't feel appreciated. It didn't feel um not all of the places, but some of the places. It didn't feel like they were received well. Um, there's two like friendships I remember specifically where this was, and then I don't remember feeling like this, but I'm just because I'm aware of the connection, I'm sure that it was connected. I'm pretty sure I felt maybe a way about my mom not being as present, and even though I never really talk about my issues, like having issues with my dad not being around, I'm sure that there was a tie, I'm sure that there was. It just makes the most sense, right? So having all this love to give and then trying to put it into places where it wasn't appreciated or shunned, made me feel like I was doing too much. Or yeah, I felt like I was doing too much. So then I began to start to retreat and do a lot less and be quieter and kind of just step back. And I remember I remember distinctively when it happened. Not like a date, but I remember the period of my life when it happened. And I began to be super low maintenance. I've talked about this, I believe, before, but I began to be super low maintenance and just kind of like took a seat in the background. And what God has been bringing up to me lately over the last few years, but really, I feel like I'm really settling into it now, is that I was never meant to be dimmed, and you were never meant to be dimmed. And the thing is that you just had this beautiful light, and maybe everyone doesn't know how to didn't know how to handle your beautiful light. And also everyone else had their own things, and it wasn't that your light was too bright. It's just that they had something going on. And it's the same thing as an adult. For me, is that I even struggled with it as an adult, like not wanting to shine too much because I didn't want to make other people feel uncomfortable. But the reality is that if my light causes anyone in my life discomfort, it's not about me, and it's more about them. And then also, if it makes people want to leave, then the door is right there, because I've come to a point in my life where I'm fully allowing myself to be as great as God made me. And so, maybe I want that to be your journal prompt today, is when was your light dimmed, and then why? And so now that we identified that, I want to share this beautiful moment that I had with God. And this was really beautiful. Really beautiful. I'm so grateful for this platform, for this space, for being able to document and record myself. And maybe I would even encourage you guys to do the same. I don't know if this is me being super into myself or not. I mean, I really do love myself. I really am into myself very much. And I like to rewatch myself a lot. And I love to rewatch myself because when I watch me, I see the light in me. I see the shine in me. I remember the first time that someone told me this, it was my boyfriend. Well, he was my ex boyfriend at the time. We had broken up, and the first time I ever heard anyone acknowledge I had never heard anyone acknowledge this about me, and he was like, Sean, it's like you have this light around you, and you have this light, and I just want to be around it. And that was the first time someone ever acknowledged that about me. And I've had it mentioned to me before as well, from my uncle. He says that he's like, I don't know. He's like, it's like you walk into this like orb or something type of a thing, right? And so if you're someone who you identify with this kind of an energy, then then yeah, then maybe this message is for you. So yes, I was talking to God, and I had been watching a video of mine back, and I was just in awe of me because I also know my journey. I know my journey. I know what I've overcome. I know who I am. I know who I am. I know. I always refer to that song. I love that song. But anyway, yeah, I know who I am. And so I really, I'm going to say it's the wrong way. I really be proud. I really be proud of me. Like, for real. Do you really be proud of yourself sometimes? Do you ever look back at how far you've come and you're like, you did that? Because many people try, but not everyone succeeds. Some people get scared along the way. Some people stop along the way. Are you someone who stopped along the way? Are you someone who has stopped along the way? So that happens. And so to continue to go forward, to continue to just wake up every day and try is beautiful. To wake up every day and to try is beautiful. To wake up every day and to succeed is beautiful, because if you tried, you have succeeded, okay? Redefining success, but that's another thing. Anyway, let's move forward. So this is what I was journaling about, because I watch myself navigate. I watch who I am in my relationships with people. I watch how I am, how I show up to the world. And so I wrote, you gave me a capacity to hold space for people while giving truth that can be received. You made this huge being of love. Like, when you made me, you gave me so much love. You made me so bright, God. I was never small. I have always tried to let other people shine, because I didn't want them to get intimidated when I started to shine. But I see that I can't stop that, and I can't hide that. It is my truth. I am bright, loving, beautiful, honest, safe, comforting, empowering, compassionate, firm, and so beautifully made. I was really made for all that you have destined me for. I am so special, and time was taken in the creation of me. There was an effort put in, there was thought, it was meticulous and intentional. It is a true masterpiece. I want to encourage you, if you are listening to me right now, to remember and to acknowledge that you are truly a divine masterpiece. I'm going to talk about the light stuff, but the main thing about the light, is that the acknowledgement that there was nothing that wasn't intentional about the creation of you, the way that you react to things, the way that you interpret things, your characteristics, your traits. Um, there was nothing that was ever a mistake about how you were created. God made me this beautiful light and put me into my family, and gave me my I chose, God chose, however you want to see it, my family. And even the spaces where things weren't the brightest, right? God made me this beautiful light to still shine in that house, to still remind them of the light, even in the darkest of times. That was intentional on God's part. God puts me in people's lives to remind them just how amazing they are, to encourage them. God was intentional in that. God made me this way with myself, to encourage myself even when I felt like I didn't have encouragement around me, to push myself even when I felt like no one around me was pushing me. God gave me that. That was intentional. God introducing me to YouTube, putting me here on this podcast, it was intentional. Like, there's never a mistake made. God made you beautifully, intentionally, like, it was so specific. I feel a release for something. It was so specific, the way that you were made. And don't ever hide that, dim that, or discount that. Don't ever compare it. Don't ever look at you and look at it next to somebody else, because what you were made for was not what they were made for. And what they were made for is not what you were made for. I have chills up my arm right now. A lot of us also dim our lights because of comparison too. Um, the first thing I wrote, the first note I wrote here about the light, allowing your light, was um understanding your unique blueprint. I'm going to put this journal down for a moment. Understanding your unique blueprint. What do I mean by that? The beauty we have social media and media also super dope, right? When used correctly. Um, but a lot of times we see one way. There's like one picture that is painted of how things should be. I think the world is beautiful because I believe that we are. I tend to believe more optimistically, and I'm really proud of, based on my algorithm, how my world that I live in is set up. We're doing really great at highlighting how unique we are, how different we are, and how special we are. And so, in that, the first step is understanding your unique blueprint. How this looked for me, right? Well, I look at media, the girls that are the girls, right? They're always maybe more sexy, maybe more sultry, and sorry, they're I don't think I like that. Let's put it to the front. The girls that I see online, they're always like really sexy, really sultry. And so now that wasn't ever me. I was never getting sexy sultry, right? So I started to understand like who I am. How do I understand who I am? I looked at how do I naturally navigate? How is my personality? I'm like goofy. I'm very goofy. I'm very lighthearted, playful. I'm very youthful. Like I have the face of a 12-year-old, even though I'm turning 29 in a few weeks. I have the face of a 12-year-old. So even like how God created my appearance was intentional. I have a youthful spirit and a youthful face. It's nothing that's not intentional about that. That was specific. You know what I mean? I have a very light-hearted personality. I'm very, very playful. Um, but I'm also very and not but and I'm also very honest and very truthful. And because God made me that way, because God gave me this childlike youthful innocence, it allows for my message to be heard from the people who are supposed to hear it. So yeah, I just began to understand my thing. Like I'm not gonna say I was never, because I obviously tap into my sultry bag at times, but primarily I'm very youthful and very playful and very innocent, right? And so I play into my strengths. That is my strength. So I just lean into it. So I needed to understand, what is my blueprint? What am I like as a person? What are you like as a person? Are you goofy? Are you playful? Are you serious? Are you intense? Are you compassionate? Are you straightforward? Are you blunt? Or are you the kind of person who holds space for people, who maybe beats around the bush a little bit, who maybe has a little bit more patience with helping people get to their answer? Are you Do you see the world half glass half full? Do you see the world glass half empty? Which one are you? Pessimistic? Are you optimistic? Right? Um, do you have like Are you very bright and airy, or do you have like a sense of darkness around you? And so that's going to bring me right into the next part, which is accepting and embracing your version of light. I want to be clear here. What God was telling me is light is just truth. So yes, our minds is like this beautiful light thing, right? But light is also just truth. When I was given this analogy of like you're in a dark room, it's just darkness, is pitch black. You turn on the light to be able to see what is true, what is around, what is going on. That is the purpose of light. So when you think about your light, it's just your truth. It's just your truth. And so accepting and embracing your truth. I had to embrace I'm playful and youthful. I may not never give what's that? I'm seeing a picture in my head, but I can't think of what her name is. Let me think of someone else though. I might not never give Janet Jackson anytime, mm, mm, any place, but I find I might resonate more with like Ariana Grande, right? I love the Janet, don't get me wrong, but I have to add that youthfulness to it because it's what feels true to me. It's what feels authentic to me. So accepting and embracing your light, accepting that your light will not look like someone else's light. I have some friends in my life who are more pessimistic, right? They see they can see the negative really really easy in things. And if they compare their gift to mine, it would feel like my gift was the better gift. Well, you see things light, you see things optimistic, yada yada yada. And what I tell them and what I say to them is that your gift is special as well. So don't compare your gift to my gift. Your gift is special in the fact that that's also needed. Everything is balanced. So everything is needed. So your ability to see the worst case scenarios, to see the more negative side, allows for you in your journey to maybe prepare for more negative things or to prepare to navigate through. It just is whatever works for you. It's just whatever is best for you. There's no gift that's better or worse. Um, it just is. And whatever yours is, it is special. I told my friend one time, I said, you highlight to people their incompetence, like where they're lacking. And I know that that could sound like a bad thing, but people need to know that. Like, how else would you grow if you don't know where you're lacking? Now you think that you might would want this gift of light and stuff like that, but your gift is special and needed in the world. People need to like you. People need that mirror to show them, you could tighten up here. You could do a little bit better here. That's needed. Like so accepting your gift is acknowledging that what you have is unique, it is special, and it is needed, and never meant to be compared to what someone else has. Okay. Um. The next thing that I wrote here was disregarding other people's opinions. So, in allowing your light to shine, sometimes you feel like, what are people going to say? What are people going to think? And so, the points that I wrote here was understand that they will never fully understand. Understand that people will never fully understand why you are the way that you are. When I look back at the little girl in me and who I was and all of that, excuse me. I understand that that's not the word I want to use. I'm gonna come back to that point actually. I'm gonna come back to that point and I'm gonna go through this next point about this is the same one though, is disregarding the other opinions, is remember it's not personal when people project their insecurities. So when we talk about disregarding other people's opinions, a lot of times it's our echoes of our own insecurities just coming through and either what someone is literally saying or what we are projecting that someone thinks or is saying about us. Um, but if someone is literally saying something to you about you shining or you being you, it is simply because sometimes other people aren't living in their truth. And when you start to shine your light, sometimes it casts shadows. And just like here, I have a light shining here. It has casted a shadow on the back of this couch here, right? Sometimes when you shine your light, it casts other people's shadows and forces them to see where maybe they aren't living up to their own expectation of themselves. And when you're not living up to your own expectation of yourself, you can feel like to other people, how dare you live up to yours. So know that when people are like, when I shine my light and if I can feel someone feeling insecure about that or uncomfortable with that, I have to just accept that it's not personal to me. It's just that I am highlighting to them something that maybe they want to possess as well, or something that they could totally possess that they're just not at this time. And so it's not personal and it's not about me. And that really brings me comfort. So I wanted to share that one. And the second part about disregarding the other people's opinions is knowing that your light has purpose. Knowing that God was intentional in giving you this gift. God was intentional of creating you this way, created the way that you speak, created the way that you interpret, created the way that your mind thinks, created the way that you advise, create yourself and others, created the way that you present yourself, characteristics of your face, characteristics of your body, the way that you dress, the tone in your voice. Everything is very intentional and it's for a purpose. And so remember that when you're thinking about what people are thinking, just know that they might not. That's what the first one is. They'll never fully get it because they didn't get your mission. They didn't get your vision. They didn't get the things that you're brought here to do. So they just don't get it, and they never will fully get it because it's not theirs, it's yours. And the only person who will ever really get it, oh, that's what I was trying to remember earlier. When I It's like it's coming, but it keeps slipping my mind. um when you're a child and your light gets dimmed, it is because everyone doesn't know how to fully care for that light. And then the thing that was coming through was like, actually, no one will not ever know how to fully care for that light aside from you and God, source. Other people can do their best and they might get it 99%, 98, 95, 70, but 100% of the time you understand how to care for that light. But or you can best care for that light, but other people may not, and they may mistreat it, and all that kind of stuff. So that was that. And then that kind of ties even into the last point, which was celebrating and leaning into your light. So like when go back and watch my videos of me, and I see me being authentic and truthful and honest in who I am, I celebrate that. I get really proud of me and I light up about it. And so I say celebrate your light. Celebrate the way that you navigate life. Celebrate the way that you have conquered. Celebrate the way that you have elevated. Celebrate the way that you have expanded. Celebrate all of the you that is you. You want your light to shine? Celebrate your light. Honor your light. Honor your truth. It's worth it and you deserve it. And so, girl, you worth it. No, I deserve it. Cause girl, I earned it. Hmm. Mm. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not kind of blanked out for a second. Ah, thank you. That yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. That was getting me emotional, you guys, because that was like right before my granddad passed away. That was like his favorite song. Loved that song. And my granddad was so old fashioned. And he wanted me to print him the lyrics to this song because he wanted to learn it. And I refused. I'm like, Granddad, no, that song is nasty and you are old. You cannot sing that song. It's me being young thinking that I could sing that song, and like he's old, he can't, and he did more nasty stuff than I probably had because he had been living longer. But I was like, no, you cannot sing that song. So I remember he literally, because I wouldn't print the lyrics from him for him, he literally sat there and listened to the song over and over and over again and wrote the lyrics to that song, man. And so I just felt him kind of come in just now, and he was just flashing back these memories of mine and his, and just reminding me that he always knew and always saw how special I was, and was just reminding me that he also was being wanting to be instrumental in me knowing that, and I do, and I appreciate all like the moments that me and my granddad had, man. Yeah, love him. That's why I was like, I don't really know how much me and my dad not being around affected me because I had a really great granddad, man. I really did. He, uh, really phenomenal man to me. So yeah. Um, I wanna bring this message full circle, spirit. That was so good. Love you, granddad. Damn. Girl, you earned, I earned it. Yes. So, um, this has been a jam-packed episode of exercises and things, but ultimately the message is allowing yourself to see your light. That light has always been there. That light has always been shining. It has been shining even when you didn't know. It has been shining in places where you didn't know. People have seen it shining and you couldn't see it shining. And so just ask to see it. If you're having a hard time seeing your light, just ask to see it. I promise you that God will reveal it to you. I promise you that I pray that memories begin to flood your mind of how bright you are and your brightest moments. I pray that God reveals to you how special you are, how unique you are. I pray that you celebrate those moments of yours. I pray that you honor and celebrate yourself. I pray that your perspective is changed around how you view yourself, how you view your gifts, how you view your life, the life that you have had. I pray that you walk back into remembering the beauty of all that you have experienced. I pray that new memories are unlocked and remembered of just great things that have happened to you in your life. I pray that you step into life seeing how full, vibrant, and beautiful it truly is. God, amen. Honestly, amen. So, how are we deciding to be limitless today? We are deciding to be limitless by fully embracing our light, which is our truth of who we are, and understanding that it is unique and it is special and it was very intentional in the creation of it, and it is to be celebrated. And you're rare, babes, and I'm rare, and it's just a blessing. So we're being limitless by acknowledging our light and how unique and special we are, and allowing that to be the leading force in our lives. I am deciding to be limitless by shining even in the rooms that seem dark. I am deciding to be limitless by accepting all of me and all of my journey and embracing the memories of the best parts. So this has been beautiful. I love you guys. I pray that I really hope that it has fueled something in you and that you got something. And this just feels like such a, I don't know, like soft moment. And I love that, man. So thanks for joining me, you guys. If you love this conversation, definitely if you're watching the visuals, give it a thumbs up on YouTube. If you're listening in, don't forget to rate the podcast. If this message was beautiful, share it with a friend. Like, don't be stingy, girl, guy, they, them. Don't be stingy. Share it with somebody because um some stuff is just too good to not share. So share it and follow the podcast. Follow me on social media. It is all at Authentically Sean, and the podcast links are all linked below. And I love you dearly, and I will talk to you guys next week.